We're glad to have you back. Well, as President Tinubu's administration continues to intensify efforts at its reform agenda, the potential impact on the nation's economy has continued to generate interest and debates. According to experts, the administration's approach to fiscal monitoring, trade and industrial policies, as well as its stance on key economic issues such as infrastructure development, taxation, require aggressive implementation strategies to engender sustainable and longer-term development goals, plans. Of course, for more on this, I'm being joined by Honorable Sam Atasia-Oburu, CEO, Vanil Lijos, that's a Global Limited, I hope I got that right, and the National Chairman, Convener of Renewed Hope Agenda, the way forward. Thank you so much. It's good to have you in the studio. We appreciate this.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to be here. I'm glad to be able to add value to society and add value to the operation of government as we move forward into 2024. Once again, you got it wrong. It's Vanuel Jokes. It's Vanuel Jokes. Vanuel Jokes Global Limited.
Vanuel Jokes Global Limited. All right, then. Thank you so much for that. All right, then. You know, there's a lot to talk about in Nigeria at the moment. But first, I'm going to ask you, the Renewed Hope Agenda. Many have talked about this. I've read the book and everything. Looking at how we've started, or our government has started since May 29, what is your assessment of what is on ground, considering some major economic moves that have been made by the president?
Well, thank you very much. But you will permit me, before I go ahead to do anything today, you know, I'm from the South, I'm from the River State to be precise, and today, incidentally, it's the Ogoni Day. So I have to say hello and pay respect to my Ogoni brothers, my Ogoni children, my Ogoni family, led by Senator Magnus Abe. I'd like to say kudos to you all and keep the flag flying, and we expect that sooner or later, the Ogoni people will not be marginalized anymore. Thank you very much. It's a Ogoni National Day. My name is Sam Atasia-Oburu. I'm the CEO of Vanuel Jokes Global Limited, and I'm the National Chairman and Convener for Renewed Hope Agenda, the way forward. Now, you asked a question. With what the government has done so far, what hope is there for Nigerians? I'll tell you, the hope for Nigeria is very bright. The tunnel is very, very bright. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Why do I say so? Because the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria hinged his campaign on renewed hope. Did not stop there when he won the election. Continued in his governance on the premise of renewed hope. And as we can see, he did not go ahead to just start implementing the things he had planned 30 years coming to governance. He started, first of all, by building the foundation. A whole lot of persons saw him and was saying that, this man has not sat on the seat here too. He's traveling here, he's traveling there, he's traveling here, he's traveling there. He's always abroad. He's been to Dubai twice as we speak. In the last 3-4 months, now we're running to 6-7 months. What was he doing? He was trying to build a solid foundation. The Bible says that if you do not build your foundation on a solid rock, when the winds come, it's going to blow your house or blow your structure away. So what President Asiwaju is trying to do is trying to build a foundation that is concrete, a foundation, an economic foundation that can stand the test of time. So when we have the unforeseen challenges like COVID and co, natural challenges as Japan has now, our economy will not be shaken to the foundation, will not be shaken at all. We'll be able to withstand whatever pressure is coming from everywhere. So what we're doing right now, what he's doing right now, he's trying to build a foundation that is strong, that can stand, that lasts the test of time. And then don't forget that the foundation he's building is a new one, because coming from 1999, the structure has been blown away. There's practically nothing left again in Nigeria. If you ask me, some persons say that they are amazed that Nigeria as an entity is even still standing with all that has they've milked out of Nigeria, with all the distraction, with all the effect, with all the corruption, with all the bad language, the trajectory and everything, that they are surprised. And truth be told, I too am also surprised that Nigeria is still standing. But you know why Nigeria is still standing? Because we're good people. Because a few persons still pray, a few persons still believe that Nigeria can work. Those few people are the people that have made Nigeria to still be standing, and then have a thing or an entity that someone can come and work on and then grow the country. Let me give you an instance. In the Bible, it says that for one man, God blessed Israel. For one person, God can bless Nigeria. And we're not just one. We're several of us who believe that Nigeria can work again. All we need is the right attitude, the right leadership, the willpower to make things happen. And then I tell you something, we're going to be going places. But in the interim, do not judge the present government, because the federal government is still building its foundation and it's trying to build it on a rock so that when the winds come, we'll still be standing strong.
A good way to start the conversation. But when subsidy was removed, many will talk about palliatives. I know you, like you said, deep down, the Ogoni people and all of that. How well did you think that was administered? Did everyone, or what can be done to make it better distributed? The issue of data comes in here.
Well, a whole lot of persons think that the way it was approached was drastic. Let me use the word drastic. And I will not totally disagree with them, because we're not used to a government that comes and says that on the first day hit the ground running. So it was a little bit of a shocker to us that this man had not put some things in place, and then he came up and removed subsidy, and then the palliatives were not on ground. Like a friend of mine, Olobotaya, we were discussing this morning, last night and this morning, and he said that the buses, the CNG buses, should have been on ground already before the palliatives were removed. The incentives should have been on ground already before the palliatives were removed. Now, being on ground already would have meant that the government would have been in place and operating with the structure. Don't forget that you cannot put a new one in an old bag. You put a new one in an old bag, the bag is going to burst. So we had to come with a new policy, a new thing altogether, take a drastic decision. And that's what I talked about, a president with the willpower to do things, that has the capacity to be able to do it and then take on Nigeria. But what we're lacking is, how would I put it there? The media team. We need to boost the media team to be able to transmit the federal government policies and agenda. Let me tell you something. I was a member of the presidential media team, the presidential campaign media team ahead of the election. I was the chairman in charge of Bayelsa State, media and publicity. Now, there were 17 of us, I call us 17 running, and incidentally, I am also still the chairman of the College of Former State Media and Publicity Committee members. Now, when the PCC was truncated, when it was dissolved, I saw ahead of time, and I said that dissolving this PCC, now the media committee, was going to affect us because we still had a long way to go. You need the media people to be able to defend whatever actions that they'll be throwing against the president, the presidency, and the party. So I said, no, instead of us going ahead and to be dissolved, we formed, I brought my people together, Ahmed Sajo, Fonokon, Aaron Atimas, and we said, and a few other persons, Valentine Ilobi, and a few other persons, say, let's not dissolve. My brother Jimmy from Benue State, let's not dissolve. Let's just stay together. Let's metamorphose to what they call the College of Media and Publicity Committee, so that we will be able to be tackling whatever onslaught that was coming against the government, coming against the policies, coming against the agenda and the programs. And to an extent, I feel, God, that we did a fair enough good job, because it wasn't easy, taking on, articulated and taking on OB at the same time. So what am I saying in a nutshell? The media caucus of the government, as we speak right now, it needs to be enlarged, because there's a whole lot of people don't know. And when the people do not know, they build stories. And when they build stories, they're not going to build favorable stories for the government. They're going to build a story that they know, that they heard in the beer parlor, that they suspect, and they are never favorable story. So we need people to be coming up with what government is doing, how far government has done, how the people can benefit, and how government, how they can key in to grow, and how we can better society. But in the long run, what we need is to be able to eradicate poverty. You cannot eradicate poverty if the people do not have a way of keying into government agenda on poverty alleviation. The temporary subsidy, temporary cash incentive and stuff like that, those are short term. What about the long term? What about the medium term? What about the long term? People need to know what is happening as regarding these operations, how government has mapped it out. That's what I'm saying in a nutshell, that there should not be a lacuna in information dissemination. We need to broaden the scope. We need to broaden government dissemination apparatus, the media apparatus. You need to bring people, you need to decentralize it as a matter of fact. Some persons in each region have a different media apparatus because what is peculiar to this region is not what is peculiar to this particular region. Let me tell you another thing. When I was Chief Press Secretary to Governor TVC Silva in Bayelsa State, I'm just half from Bayelsa State, half from Rivers State. I had to go all the way to the grassroots to be able to rebuild the TVC Silva image. What they know about TVC Silva, where he went to school, his wife, his family, what he loves, his kind of books, the kind of books he reads, what kind of movie he watches. I need to make him look like a human being so for the people to be able to buy into his agenda and buy into his policy. He became loud all of a sudden in under 6 months, and he was going to win the election if they had allowed us to get into that primary. That's why they did everything possible to stop him from contesting that primary, and eventually we did not, and eventually we left government. So what am I saying in a nutshell? We need to be able to transmit government policies, program, activity to the grassroots. And you cannot do that from Abuja here alone. So you need to decentralize the media so that the people will be able to know what government is doing, how they can key in. Now, I was telling somebody something the other day. I said, if you build a tunnel here, if you build a tank here, and someone is living just outside TVC here, does not have a pipe connected to that tank, and someone is living far away Kubwa, he has a pipe connecting to that tank. He's going to get water first before the person living in front of TVC here. Why? Because it's connected to the activity in the tank. So, what's the activity in the tank that can grow the economy? We need to diversify. We need to move from just oil dependence to other things like cotton, like solid minerals like gold, californium, lithium. There are so many things that Nigerians could get into that could grow the economy, that could grow the naira, that could stabilize the naira.
Allow me to interject you there now. Are you seeing that sincerity in diversifying our economy really again away from oil? Like you mentioned, we've seen a lot of moves around the solid mineral space. But, you know, there are other ways. Agriculture, adding value to our farm produce is something that remains also very important. Have you seen that will, that political will to really diversify this time around?
Now you talked about, let me start from political will. President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the most Nigerian that has the willpower to rule this country now. He did not start planning to be president yesterday or last week. He has been planning to be president from 30 years coming. So he has drawn up plan, policies, agenda on how he can be able to govern Nigeria and be able to impact Nigeria with positive growth. So willpower, 2-pack is there. Now, the right persons to galvanize that willpower is where we have a law. You need the right people who have the mentality, who believe in the capacity of the president to do this, and will not use their own selfish interest, greed, to jeopardize the presidential policy, presidential plan. Now, talking about diversification, it is apparently totally necessary for us to diversify now, because we've been doing the same thing over the years, relying totally on oil. This is where it has gotten us to, relying strictly and totally only on oil. This is where we have come. This is how far we have come. I'm wearing a suit that is 15 years old, but it looks like I bought it last week. Why? Because I wash it well and try to maintain it. So we need to diversify so that I'll be able to buy new suits, so that the ordinary man will be able to grow as well. That's just an example I'm using here. What am I saying? We need to move from oil dependence to other things. Gold, for example. We have it in large quantity. The way you're mining oil in the South, why don't you try and do the same thing? That's why I love Dele Aleke. He is a square peg in a square hole. Why? Because he has come up with policies and things on how we can be able to revitalize our solid mineral sector. The gold in Zamfara, it's gold as in like gold, raw gold, pure gold. It is needed all over the world. When Asiwaju came in as president, he has made 2 or 3 trips to Dubai, while he's been trying to build the economic bilateral trade relationship with Dubai. Now, he has done that bit. He has gone not once, not twice, but I think about 2 or 3 times. But implementing what was agreed between him and the government of Dubai is another thing. Nigerians are still suffering in Dubai. Do you know that Nigerians cannot even renew their papers in Dubai? Hello? Now, you would think that the president haven't been there, haven't agreed with their own leaders that things will come back to normal or improve. That's what you would think. That's what I would think. But things are still back, if possible, as a matter of fact, it's even getting worse because the bottlenecks attached to it. It's not letting that whatever the president has done so far to be able to grow, and that's where we come in. The president has the willpower, but the people who are there to implement it, to see it through, do they have the same audacity as he has? Because you have to be fired on the audacity of the president to be able to function in his own unction. What am I saying here? You need to have a team of people who are fired for you, who are totally fired for you to work. They don't care anything. They eat, sleep, and think how Asiwaju can grow. And that's people like me. I don't care about nothing. It's how this country can work, how the ordinary man can get a better lifestyle, how we can have an egalitarian society. That's what I think of every day now. And there are so many other persons like that. And that's why I've given my time to the Renewed Hope agenda, the way forward. I've spent my time, resources, and energy trying to promote it. What is the Renewed Hope agenda, the way forward? It's just trying to promote, make explicit those implicit things that government have been putting together to make life better in Nigeria. Now, let's go back to that Dubai thing. What is the big deal there? What's holding up the arrangement that the president has made with the government of the United Arab Emirates? Implementation. Implementation. What's the implementation? Paying the backlog of whatever we're owing to the United Arab Emirates government. Shikena. Somebody somewhere, I'm not so sure, must be thinking of what's the need for me? So they're holding it back. And so Nigerians are suffering. The economy is suffering. The naira is going down. The dollar is climbing up against the naira. Trade between the two countries is widening instead of closing. Or closing instead of widening. Now, what do we need to circumvent that? You have raw gold in Dubai, in Zamfara here. You don't need to use naira. You don't need to use the dollar that you don't even have to pay that bill. You could go into barter. When I was in NTA, they called me master of barter. I barter everything. I use what I have to get what I need. There's gold in Dubai, in Zamfara, sleeping. Come to an agreement with the Arab UAE government and see how we can use our gold there to pay off our debts. See how we can use our excess crude here and pay off some debts. It's not everything that's about naira and dollar. We don't have the money. We don't have the cash as it were right now. We're even going to borrow to be able to implement the budget. So we need to start thinking out of the box. We need to start thinking, how can we activate or actualize these policies, these plans? Look at the budget, for example. It's 28.7 trillion, as a matter of fact. We have recurrent expenditure sitting at 30%. We have capital expenditure sitting at 35%. Now to talk about the statutory transfer and then the debt services. The debt services, that's where I'm coming in here now. That debt services that is about 29%, which is sitting at 8.27. We don't really need to use naira or pounds or euro to be able to take care of it. We can barter it as best as we can, as far as we can. If we cannot barter it as far as we can, then use whatever we mop up from there. Don't forget that by the time you put together recurrent capital and debt services, it's coming up to about 17 trillion. How much is the budget total? The budget total is about 28.7. So you have a deficit of almost 9 trillion to 10 trillion. How are you going to fund it? So some economists will look at it and tell you that it's almost difficult to fund this budget. But then again, there comes the people with a dynamic touch, the people who have the Midas touch, who can think out of the box. It's not all about naira and euro and dollars. You can be able to start thinking out of the box. What do we have in large quantity that we can use to offset these bills? And then plug back those bills into the economy. So we can be able to grow the capital expenditure aspect of the budget. We can be able to actualize it, achieve it, and even add more to it. So that you can be able to drive from Zamfara to Port Harcourt, from Sokoto to Calabar on a smooth road or on a railway. Once we have the enabling economic environment, the economy will grow. When the economy grows, the naira will be strong. When the naira is strong, life will be better for you and I. Life will be better for the ordinary man. You will have the basic amenities in life, housing, born water, and stuff like that. Am I taking up
Honorable Sam Atasia-Oburu.
Because this government, yes, that's my name. I'm totally unforgettable. This government
interesting conversation with you. And I must tell you that we are going to continue with this conversation because there are a lot of issues for us to talk about. But this is much time can take today, I must tell you. It's your first time on the show. We appreciate you. Mr. Sam Atasia-Oburu is the COO of Vanuel Joes Global Limited and National Chairman Convener, Renewed Hope Agenda, the way forward. Joined us live from our Abuja studio. I know he still has a lot to say, but that will be on the subsequent appearance. Thank you